Hey guys, what's up? It's Stephanie. I have another video for you guys this week. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Stephanie. I am a PA student who just enjoys making videos to provide advice, tips, and talk about my experience applying to PA school and in PA school. And for those of you who are fellow subscribers already, I am very thankful for you guys. You guys are amazing. Alright guys, so back to the video for today. The topic of the video today is going to be about asking for letters of recommendation. So I think this is really important, the way that you ask for letters of recommendation and also who you choose to write your letters of recommendation for PA school. So if you are interested, I will talk about that soon. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye. Alright guys, so letters of recommendation. So letters of recommendation, they are very, very important to your PA school application. So they're very, very important. It's one of the things that the schools also take into consideration when providing you interview or also when accepting you into the program. I know there was a specific school in the state of Texas that I applied to. I won't be saying the name. But that school, one of the individuals who sat on the admissions committee, upon asking them for advice on how I can better my application since I had already been rejected from them the first year, he told me that one thing that they look at and they take into consideration a lot is your letter of recommendation. So when looking at letter recommendations, if they see that the letter of recommendation is short, say it's only a few paragraphs, not even a page full, that they will not take you into consideration. So that's why it's really important to choose an individual who knows you very well. So someone who knows you, who can speak about your academic progress, can speak about your work ethic, can speak about you overall, of how you want to become a physician assistant, and who also knows you very well. So that's why it's really important that when you are choosing those individuals to write you the letters of recommendation, to be very specific of who and careful of who you are going to choose to write you a letter of recommendation. Also, in the CASP application, I believe it gives you up to 4 choices to add your individuals who are going to write you a letter of recommendation. If you are going to add 4, just make sure that you put them in order, as in prioritize them in order of who you want to put first, second, third, and fourth, because some schools that you apply to, they will only look at 3 and they will only look at the first 3. So say that you are very close to a doctor and he knows you the best out of the 4 individuals and you put him as the 4th one, some schools won't even get to read his letter of recommendation since he was at the end. So that's why it's really important to put them in order in the way that you feel the quality of the letter of recommendation they wrote you is. So this is very, very, very vital that I recommend you guys. Also, like I said, when choosing an individual, I also recommend to choose someone who knows your academic work, whether it's a professor, whether it's somebody you did research with, somebody who knows you academically. Also, an employer, someone who worked with you, who knows about your work ethic. And then third, if you can, try to get a PA to write your letter recommendation, whether it was a PA that you worked with, whether it was a PA that you shadowed, get a PA. Although some schools do accept, letters of recommendation from physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners, etc. I really recommend you guys to get at least 1 letter of recommendation from a PA from the 3. So you can get one from a PA, a doc, and then say a teacher, but get that 1 letter of recommendation from a PA. Really, 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 really strive for that. So get a letter of recommendation from a PA. Now, when it comes to asking them for the letter of recommendation, I know I was really nervous when it came down to asking them for that letter of recommendation. I was dreading it because I'm already a very shy individual, and asking them, I was even more shy. So the best way to ask them is to ask them in person. Although, you know, I know some individuals, some students in my class, they had moved states, so they attended a school in another state and they had moved, and that wasn't possible because it was very far away, so they sent them an email. But if you are able to and you live within proximity of the individual who's going to write you the letter of recommendation, I really recommend you guys to ask them in person. That's what I did. Both of the years that I applied to PA school, I asked them in person. So every individual that I asked if they could write me a letter of recommendation, I went and I personally asked them to write me a letter of recommendation, because I feel like it's more personal if you ask them rather than sending them an email or writing them a letter. I think it's a lot more personal if you if you ask them in person. So as for my experience, who I asked to write me a letter of recommendation, I asked my professor who I had taken, I took several classes with her, and then I did research with her for 2 years. So she knew about my how I worked academically. She also knew of my ethic doing research, how I was able to think critically, how I was organized, I was a good presenter when it came down to presenting my research. So she knew me very well, and she had even met my parents, and she knew my sisters. I mean, she knew me very well, so that's why I chose her to write me a letter of recommendation. And she wrote me a great letter of recommendation. It was 2 pages long, and she tackled everything on the letter of recommendation. So she was fantastic. The second individual I asked to write me a letter of recommendation was a PA I worked with. I had worked with him for about 2 years, and he also knew me very well, and he knew my sisters, and to me he always saw me as his daughter. So I had a really strong relationship with him, and he was just an amazing PA, and he knew how much I wanted to become a PA, so he wrote me a great letter of recommendation. And the third individual I chose my manager for the urgent care I work with. She knew me very well also. She knew my work ethic. She also talked how I was able to be cross-trained from being a front desk to a back office, doing medical assistant job duties, etc. So she talked very well. And like I said, I asked each one of them personally if they could write me a letter of recommendation. When I asked them, for example, I gave them also, except for except for my academic professor, I didn't, but my manager and the PA I work with, I gave them a resume of the schools I had attended, my GPA, my pre-req classes, where I had worked, etc. That way they knew a little bit more about my background. So I gave them both that way they can include that in their recommendation, and they both did. And so that's also something very vital I recommend, is to, if you can, just give them a resume. That way they know, I mean, they already know you, but that way they know a little bit more about you, and when they're writing your letter of recommendation, they can base the letter of recommendation off that. So that's why it's really important to ask them in person. Also give them a deadline of when you need the letter of recommendation, because I know some of the individuals I asked, I was hunting them down because I was running out of time and I wanted to submit my application via PA school within a certain time period. So that's why it's really important to also let them know when you are planning to submit your application to PA school. So once you get your application, your letter of recommendation, it's really important, guys, to thank them also. Unfortunately, I had moved from San Antonio to another city, so I wasn't able to thank them personally, or else I would, but I did send them letters to thank them for writing me a letter of recommendation and also informing them that I had been accepted. So whether you're accepted or not, just make sure you thank them, because if you're not accepted the first year, that way the second year you can ask them again to write you another letter of recommendation, which is what I did. Alright guys, so I hope this is a benefit for you guys. So in a nutshell, ask them in person, guys. Ask the individuals who are going to write your letter of recommendation in person, because I feel like it's more personal. And if you can, give them some type of resume. That way they know a little bit more about you, school you attended, your GPA, etc. So, and also choose individuals who know you very well. a PA for sure. If you can, get a PA to write your letter recommendation. So I really recommend that. Alright guys, thanks for watching my videos and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.